Is your chair moving?
Yes, actually.
TexAgs Rewind. Luke's with us. Kaylee's with us. We'll introduce her here in a moment. It's presented by Specs. You knew that, right?
Yeah, I knew that. I love Specs.
Yeah. Do you? Big Specs guy?
I see Kay Nagley there all the time.
We're in the Rollo Insurance studio. Love the folks at Specs. Favorite part of the show today, Luke?
Olin Buchanan.
Why?
I saw he was over there in the cool zone,
Yeah.
and he was just giving up great information, and I liked what he had to say.
Yeah, just once I'd like for you to say me. Just one time, okay?
Kaylee can say that.
Yeah, no, it's too late. Kaylee Dreyer making her debut, I believe, on the Rewind. First time, right?
Yes.
So you're going to start doing the Social Center next week.
Yes.
Tell the folks about you. Where are you from? What you
I'm
into?
from Sugar Land, and this is my first day, so yay.
I feel like you've been here for 6 months because you came in the fall a couple times and shadowed us, and now you're officially on the team.
Yes.
Big Texans and Aggie fan.
Yes. I'm very excited for, LSU, Aggie basketball game.
So favorite part of the show today was?
OB, Brawny, they're always great, but my favorite was Pat Henry.
Pat Henry. There you go. Pat Henry. He's fast, by the way. Runs a real fast mile. That on the Rewind. Plus, we also had Recruiting Country. And Brauninger and I got into a debate about stuff you don't need to listen to. But it was good. And we had John Harris on the program. That and more. It is the Rewind. I don't like the vibe of this game. Even though they were winning. Everything was going great. But the reason I didn't like the vibe of the game yesterday was because A&M had hit 7 3-pointers. Something they typically don't do.
Right.
And I was like, that ain't sustainable, guys. And Kentucky started getting hot, but they weren't hot yet. And we knew that teams get hot shooting the three-point shot against A&M, and it was just too much. And this is now a couple of games in a row where A&M gets beat on the rebounding side and just can't come up with the offense to get things done.
All those things are true.
Yep. I don't lie often.
I was with you because Kentucky started like 1 of 11 from three-pointers. You think, I just don't know that that's going to continue. I was hoping they were going to have one of those off nights, where you just don't make them. It's going to be one of those nights. And then A&M had to hit 7 threes, and the lead was sometimes 5 at 1.7, but then Jackson Robinson, former Aggie, hits that. I think it was Jackson Robinson hit that 3 that gave him the lead going into, and I'm like,
they gave Buzz the look again.
This doesn't feel good. And what was that about? I mean, every time Buzz was asked about Jackson, and he talked about what a great kid he was,
great parents,
great family, and all this thing, and then the kid comes out and he's taunting the bench, and he acting like he has an axe to grind, and all this. I didn't get it, but the bottom line is, he was excellent last night, 22 points.
It is, I don't want to call it a foregone conclusion, but it's, if you're a good three-point shooter, you're probably going to hit threes against this team. And if you're an average three-point shooter, you're going to get your opportunities. And if you're A&M, you're going to take a lot of threes.
I thought you were going to say if you're a good three-point shooter, you don't come to A&M.
Oh, God.
After they went 0 for 12 in the second half.
0 for 12. And, of course, ESPN did the graphic during the game. They averaged 6.7 threes a game. They've already hit 7.
It's feast or famine, really. Because what do they have against Oklahoma? They were good in the second half, but not really good in the first half with threes.
Yep.
They were really bad against Alabama. And then they were, especially in the second half, they were just awful last night. They need Wade. They need Wade bad.
They need Wade bad. The two teams that in the last few years wouldn't have made the playoffs, both in the finals, both teams that I think have different kind of resumes. Ohio State certainly turned it on after the Michigan game, and Notre Dame had the one blip on the radar, which was the second week of the season after they beat A&M, losing to Northern Illinois, and now they're in the championship game.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch both teams. I think Notre Dame has gotten better every single week from that Northern Illinois game. And to me, what that says is great coaching. They've lost 2 of their best defensive players. They're playing a bunch of inexperienced offensive linemen, and they're getting it done. That is Marcus Freeman and his coaching staff and style beautifully. It is fantastic to watch them play. They do things right. Like as a former coach, I watch them and go, dang, that's good. I like that. He's got them ready to go. he's pushing the right buttons. It reminds me of Billy Donovan when Billy Donovan was at Florida. Billy Donovan would do the same thing. You knew he played in the league. He was a great player, but he's smart. He's tough. He played for Pitino, but he got good players to play great together. And then when he got great players, to sing the symphony that was just awesome. And I kind of feel that way with Freeman. I feel like he's got good players that he's getting to play great together. Ryan Day's got a collection of independent contractors that he's getting to play as a team a lot of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And when they hit the right notes, each of them together, there ain't nobody beating them. But Texas showed the other day that Ohio State listened to a lot of press clippings. Jeremiah Smith is the greatest football player ever. And Texas kind of hit them in the mouth. I just don't know that Texas is as well coached as Notre Dame, but I don't think Notre Dame is as talented physically as Texas is.
So yesterday, I don't know if fireworks is the way to phrase it, but we had some news that I did not expect coming. And A&M going back into the portal, adding a wide receiver. Just some thoughts on how we got there, Brauninger.
Yeah, so Jonah Wilson's a kid originally out of Spring Decaney High School, was committed, I believe, to Texas for
right?
a little bit, and then ended up signing with U of H. And I saw him 2 or 3 times in high school in game action, and then I saw him quite a bit in camp. Always been a big physical kid, 6'3", 205 pounds, and he plays that way. Like he plays like a big outside receiver. Was very gifted in down the field scenarios, contested catch scenarios as a high schooler. Career at U of H got a little bit derailed, obviously a coaching change, and then some injuries kind of derailed his start at U of H. But will come to A&M with 3 years left. And look, I think a lot of folks, when he went into the portal, Nebraska was a very popular pick about where he was going to land. I think Nebraska had made a pretty big push there. And kind of quietly, I believe about the time Noah Thomas decided that he was going to go to Georgia, obviously A&M was looking for a transfer portal wide receiver, and they weren't real sure how they were going to fill that role if they could in this portal window. They were going to look for a productive outside receiver to kind of come in to the room that they have upgraded in terms of talent, but they wanted to go get an outside playmaker at the position. Now, Jonah Wilson's name kind of started bubbling up behind the scenes at the time Noah decided he was going to leave. And Trooper Taylor, who had the point of contact on this recruit, there was some questions on the message board yesterday about why is Trooper Taylor kind of the point man here? Well, that's the way it happens. If you have an in with a recruit,
you go with the in.
You go with the guy that's got the connection in the end. And also, Trooper Taylor is a sensational recruiter, one of your better ones on staff. He's taken over a lot of recruitments that weren't at running back. Jordan Carter, the defensive end out of Georgia. Aaron Gregory, the wide receiver out of Georgia. And Trooper Taylor was kind of the key man in both of those as well. So Trooper, he's got a ton of recruiting chops. He's got a ton of connections. And I think that's why he kind of led the charge here quietly.
Right.
Like this is something that became it wasn't a real scenario probably 72 hours ago. But 48 hours ago, it started to become a real scenario. And what I think about this addition is that Texas A&M has been explicitly clear with Jonah when he's coming off of an injury, doesn't have a ton of production, but he's got a ton of promise.
I felt that the game was in jeopardy when they were hitting so many threes.
Absolutely, because that's not sustainable for A&M. Like they hit 9 against Oklahoma, 2 against Texas, 4 against Alabama, and then they go for 7 in the first half, and you were still down at halftime. So when A&M throws their best punch and it's still not enough to be leading at halftime, you have to be concerned about the second half. And then when you don't hit a single 3, you really have no chance. It felt like there were times where they were just a run away and they just couldn't get a stop that they needed. Like they get it to a 6-point game with 7 minutes left and just the shots weren't falling.
Yep.
And taking 33s, I don't think is a recipe for success. Now, if they're going to make 15 of them, sure, you have to live with that. But that is just not this team's identity, especially without Wade.
But I think it is their identity sometimes. And I was corrected earlier because I thought they shot way more threes than I think they shoot a lot of threes for the level of three-point team that they are.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of times we'll talk about, yeah, man, but you can't be shooting that many threes in it. But I also understand you got to take a good shot. If it's a good shot, then you take as many open threes as possible. Yeah,
it's just that absolutely, if it's a good look, you should never pass it up. But just the way that their offense operates with, Buzz talks about it all the time, predictable shots, predictable rebounds. When you're taking a lot of threes, it's long rebounds. It doesn't allow you to get into flow. A&M only had 11 offensive rebounds. I think this team is at their best when they're dribbling to the basket, they're driving hard, getting contact, drawing fouls, getting to the free throw line. Now they need to work on making it when they get to the free throw line. But the point is, they're at their best when they're fouling players, like getting Alabama's entire team in foul trouble. They were getting to that point against Kentucky, but it was a little bit too little too late. But when they can drive to the rim, even if they miss that first shot, it's a predictable shot, and they're going to get a better chance to offensive rebound. But that's a lot harder when you're taking 30 shots from three.
If you're a team that misses a lot of free throws, but your goal is to get to the free throw line, and your 90% free throw shooter isn't there, it's going to be a problem. All right, Kaylee, why are you making that face?
Sorry.
Why'd you make that face?
I was listening.
You were like, tell the people what to do.
Like, comment, share, subscribe.
So you know what you're doing. Luke, good job, buddy. We'll see you next time, everybody.